What is up, y'all? What is up? Can y'all hear me? I want to make sure you guys can hear me. So let me really quickly go on my YouTube. Excuse my bird. I don't know if you guys can hear my bird in the back. Let me just quickly go to my YouTube and make sure that we are indeed live. Okay, it's looking that like we are live. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Let's get into it. We're gonna get into it soon. If you are part of the replay crew, welcome. You can skip all this part, right? Let me know. For some reason, hold on. Okay. The microphone is not moving up and down. Let me just check my live. The microphone is not moving. Okay, so I am live. Okay. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. I'm so excited to be with you guys. Happy Sunday. It's Sunday. Happy Sunday. This is an impromptu live. We're just going live. Sorry. To discuss what's going on, y'all. What's going on with P. Diddy and Cassie and the whole situation with the lawsuit? And we're just going to talk about it briefly. And once we're done with that, hold on. Sorry, y'all. And also, I went live the other day. It was my very first live. And it turns out I had the live on private. So, you guys, I had the live on private. I got some in my eyes. So you guys couldn't see the live. And I just made it public. You guys can now play it back. Okay, so let's just get into it. So as we all know, Cassie filed an explosive lawsuit accusing Sir P. Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, Brother Love, and all Puffy, all the other names he's got. Okay. So Cassie came and accused Diddy of a lot of very foul and disgusting things, very vile things that he's done to her. So Cassie is a singer. I don't know if you guys are familiar with P. Diddy. He is an American, they say singer, but I don't consider P. Diddy a singer or a rapper. I feel like he's more of a producer, if anything. He's worked with a lot of people, including Biggie Smalls, Mace, and Lil Kim, Mary J. Blige, all those people, a lot of very famous singers, American singers, and I'm sure he's done other work outside of America too. So P. Diddy had his quote, I'm going to say quote unquote, girlfriend, Cassie. Cassie was a young lady who was coming up. She had that song, "You've Been Waiting So Long, I'm Here to Answer Your Call." And I think she had a couple other songs, right? So after Cassie put out that one song, I think she put a couple other songs out, and then we never heard from her. We basically knew Cassie as quote unquote P. Diddy's girlfriend. Well, it's turning out that, for the most part, a lot of people just thought, okay, Cassie is P. Diddy's girlfriend. She's just a kept girl, because a lot of people say that, her voice wasn't that powerful or good enough to make good music to be able to sell. But I disagree with that. I don't think you need that amazing of a voice to be famous as a singer or to make good music. There are plenty of people who are not amazing singers that have a lot of bops. Okay, I'm not going to name no names, but there are a lot of people who make a lot of bops, right? And they're not necessarily the most powerful singers. So with Cassie, seems like she signed a 10-album deal with P. Diddy and his record label. And after that, we heard a few songs. I think after the first album, we never heard from Cassie again as a singer, right? So what most people were assuming is that, oh, Cassie is a kept woman. She realized she wasn't going to make it far in the music industry, because I think she did a couple performances and they didn't go very well. She couldn't sing live, people were saying, and she couldn't really perform. But she is a gorgeous, gorgeous girl. Let me just pull up a picture of Cassie for you. When I tell you, I think Cassie used to be a model. And hold on, let me just pull up a picture of Cassie for you. Cassie is a gorgeous, gorgeous girl. I think she was a model in high school. She started, and then she moved to New York. Let me share my screen with you real quick. Here it is. So this is Cassie over here, right? Gorgeous, gorgeous girl. She moved to New York, I think when she was 17. She was dating, and I'm air quoting that too, dating Ryan, a man named Ryan Leslie, who is also very, very, very much older than she is. And after Cassie started dating Ryan, the story goes, okay, the story goes that Cassie was dating Ryan, and when Diddy met Cassie, Diddy basically stole Cassie from Ryan Leslie, and I don't know that yeah, I think she did mention that part in the lawsuit, that when she met Diddy, one, she was not interested in him because one, she didn't find him attractive, and two, he was much older than her, and she had a quote unquote boyfriend. And I don't really consider those people boyfriends. I am thinking more along the lines of groomers and predators. That's just my thought on it. This is not accusing anybody of anything. This is just my own thoughts. Okay. So a lot of things you're gonna hear are my thoughts, my opinions. They've not been proven in a court of law or anything like that, right? So Cassie was with this much older man. The story goes that she was dating her when she was 17. Even though she's never admitted to that fact, she's always claimed that she was of age when she met this man. But the story goes that when she was 17, the man would come to her high school, okay, which a lot of groomers and predators do. They go find younger women that they can manipulate to do what they want. And once she graduated, she moved to New York to follow her modeling career. That's where she met Diddy. And when she met Diddy, Diddy basically, as they say, stole her from the guy. And the guy, I guess, was a singer as well. He was trying to become, the next name in music. And from that point, you never heard from him again. So after that happened, right? Diddy, a lot of us, I think majority of the population were thinking, okay, Cassie realized, like I said, her music wasn't going to go far. So she just settled for being Diddy's girlfriend because he has a lot of money. Financially, he can take care of her. She's living the good life. She was living the happy life. She was being, a girlfriend to a music mogul who took care of everything, despite the well-known fact that P. Diddy does have a lot of women that he entangles with, for lack of a better word. He does have a lot of women that he keeps around, for lack of a better term. And Cassie is aware of that. She doesn't mind as long as her needs are being met. She doesn't care who else is in the picture, pretty much. But as it's turning out, according to this lawsuit, Cassie is saying that is not the case. Pretty much, what we were all thinking was not true. Basically, according to Cassie, she was being held hostage. That's pretty much it. She was being held hostage, and she was being beaten and violated, RAPE, that she's saying. She was being severely beaten. Every time she tried to get away, run away, the beatings would get worse. And P. Diddy had enough money to have people come seek her out and bring her back to him. Basically, she was a hostage. She was kidnapped and trafficked from city to city, from state to state. I'm sure she went to different countries as well. So this could even be like a whole international case. So when she came out, let me just read you a little bit of what the lawsuit is alleging. Where is it? I have it right here. So this article is according to the New York Times. I'm going to share the article with you and read a little bit of it. Okay, so here we go. So as you guys can see, the lawsuit has been settled. We are going to get into it, but let me just find an article talking about just the lawsuit, and then we are going to get into and then we're gonna get into the settling of the case, because a lot of people are shocked, people are upset, and I don't blame them. I understand. I don't blame them. So here we are. So it's saying, let me just share the screen with you so you guys can see it for yourself. Here we go. So looking here, okay, as you can see, it says Sean Diddy Combs is accused by Cassie of rape and years of abuse and lawsuit. So in the suit, the singer says, the singer being Cassie, that Mr. Combs, known as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Brother Love, all those other names, Puffy, okay, can't stop, won't stop, subjected her to a pattern of control and abuse over a decade. So this went on for 10 years. And it goes on to say that Diddy vehemently denied the allegations. Basically, he's saying, and none of this is true. She's lying. And according to Diddy and his lawyers, this was a shakedown. Cassie's just out to get his money. She's just after him, yada, yada, yada. Right. But the lawsuit goes on to say the producer, which is Sean Combs and Mogul, who's been one of the most famous names in hip hop for decades. He was sued in federal court. It's important to notice that it was federal court because, as I said, these things happen not only in one state, it happened across states. So that makes it a federal case, right? New York, LA, and I'm sure Florida and other things, allegedly. So he was being sued in federal court by the singer, who was once signed to his label. And again, she accused him of RAPE and repeated physical abuse. And I'm sure emotional abuse is a given if you're being physically abused, and financial abuse as well, right? Even though she might have had access for him to buy her things, she may not necessarily be in charge of the money to do what she wants to do, right? Otherwise, she would be able to get her own apartment and get away from him, right? So in the suit, Cassie, whose name is Cassandra Ventura, I actually love that name. I think that's a much better stage name than Cassie. I mean, I like the name Cassie, and you know what's crazy? My name is Sandra. I don't really necessarily like the name Cassandra, but for some reason, I feel like it suits Cassie very, very well. I think it's as beautiful as she is. And, it's saying that her name is Cassandra Ventura and she's been his longtime romantic partner. Says that not long after she met him in 2005, we're in 2013, y'all. No, 2023. Yo, that was 18 years ago. When she was 19, okay, he began a pattern of control and abuse that included plying her with substances, beating her and forcing her to have with a succession of male. I can't really say certain words on here. You guys can see the word for yourself. Basically forcing her to have sex with certain people. And while he filmed the encounters and allegedly, rub them, rub one out. I'm going to say it that way. In 2018, the suit says near the end of their relationship, he forced his way into her home and RAP'd her. Okay, so this is what Cassie said. After years in silence and darkness, I'm finally ready to tell my story and speak up on behalf of myself and the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships. And we're going to discuss this part. In response to the lawsuit, of course, P. Diddy had his lawyers come out and, denying these quote unquote offensive and outrageous allegations. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Ms. Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail, despite withdrawing her initial threat. Mrs. Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation and seeking a payday. So they basically saying she's lying. She's lying. She just wants some money. She's just after him to get his money. She's just trying to get his stuff, basically accusing her being a lawyer. So then that's when Cassie's lawyer said, not too much, not too much, my girl, okay? Just 1 second, because y'all offered us money. Y'all offered, according to Cassie's lawyer, they offered her 8 figures to silence her and prevent her from filing the lawsuit. And she said, I think not. Maybe, what a lot of people are thinking is maybe, what she was asking for, even though she was being offered 8 figures, it wasn't the 30 mil that she wanted. Right. So, um, yeah, New York Times is just going in on the music industry. People saying that Cassie's lawsuit is the latest in a series of sexual assault civil suits filed recently against prominent men in the music industry, including all these people here. And I'm gonna get into that. And then Diddy basically founded Bad Boys in 1993 and became one of the primary figures in the commercialization of hip hop, working with stars like B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, as I mentioned, and he is estimated to be worth about $1 billion. So, according to Forbes, calculated that Diddy's pretty much a billionaire and he has these liquor brands. I'm trying not to name certain people and certain things just because I don't want these problems. I ain't got 30 million to give. I ain't got $1 to give. All I got is this microphone and this laptop, and I'm barely making it as it is. Okay. So Mr. Combs, who's on as Puffy, blah blah blah. So pretty much, Cassie is saying not only did he beat her, he mentally abused her. I believe one of the things that she said is that one time Diddy asked her what she called her grandpa, her grandfather, and she said she calls him Pop Pop. And from that point on, Diddy basically forced her to call him Pop Pop, which is very disgusting, actually. It's not only creepy, it's disgusting. And he would, have these FOs, the freak offs, with her, force her to participate in these quote unquote freak offs, where she would be forced to basically engage in sexual relations with random men that he would force her to find. And those encounters would go on for not just days, for days, like not just an hour, not just 2 hours, for days. And during that time, they would force her to, do substances, if you know what I mean. And after those encounters, she would need to be rehydrated for days because those substances, they really dehydrate you. And to think that Cassie was going through something like that, I think that's one of the shocking parts about this whole thing is that people were just assuming, she was there, she was doing her thing, maybe she was doing everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody knows, but it's been alleged for a long time that Diddy is into a lot of weird, freaky stuff. Okay, with both sexes, but young children, including Usher. There's the rumor out there that when Usher was a young boy, he was sent to Diddy's camp to learn about the industry. But a lot of people are saying that, he basically physically allegedly molested Usher when he was a young boy. And that the mom knew about it. And the mom basically came in and said, okay, you're not going to continuously take advantage, let's just say, of my young child. So those things are not just morally corrupt, but it's also criminal, right? So, and it's funny because Usher did an interview. They were asking him about the camp, saying that would he allow his own children to attend something like that? And he said, absolutely not. So I think that's very telling. And then there's video of Diddy, having slip ups when he's speaking about Usher, talking about, they used to be in the bed, play fighting and stuff like that. And then when he realized, oh snap, I said something I shouldn't have, he tried to clean it up. So there's all those videos, allegations against Diddy. So the fact that people were thinking, yeah, Cassie was out there doing some strange things for a piece of change, maybe it was consensual, that was okay. But to find out, not only was it not consensual a lot of the time, but he was physically beating her. Can you imagine? For 10 years he's beating her and doing all these things to her. And so, I think this lawsuit really took a lot of people aback. I know I was taken aback, but I was kind of glad that it was finally coming out, and a lot of people were finally, saying, yes, it's about time that Diddy starts paying for his sins, because there's a lot of allegations about Diddy out here. Not just, he sleeps with whoever he wants to sleep with. That's his personal business, right? But there's other things that's criminal alleging to him, having offed a lot of people, including his baby's mother. His stepson's dad was in a coma. They're saying that he was the one who did that. They're saying that he had a role in Biggie's passing and Tupac and a lot of people, right? So a lot of, and he's, coerced a lot of people into doing embarrassing things so that he could still have control and power over him. So because of that, a lot of people were kind of very happy to have this lawsuit come forward. Like, finally he's going to get his day. Finally, this would be the opportunity to not only just have Diddy be reprimanded financially, but for other people to have the courage. I think the public was ready to, they were already stepping behind Cassie. And I believe also Kid Cudi, who Cassie says that she, tried to have a relationship with. Diddy found out and told Cassie that he would blow up Kid Cudi's car, and he would make sure that Kid Cudi was home to see it. And it did happen. His car did blow up in his driveway. And I believe Kid Cudi came out to corroborate Cassie's story. And Cassie was not just saying her experiences, she was dropping names. She was saying, when this happened, this person went here. When that happened, that person went here. So there were people that would be able to corroborate those stories. And another sad part about it is, not only, I think she tried to get away from him by going to stay with Kid Cudi. His people would come and he would beat her, and the beatings are violent. And I mean, like, I could never imagine how a man can punch a person they claim to care about, to love, to value. That is the ultimate disrespect and heartlessness of someone doing that to someone they care about. And he would be stomping, like stomping on her, allegedly. That's the story going around. And a lot of people have come forward saying that, yeah, Diddy did abuse me, physically, financially, emotionally, because we know what happens to all of his artists. There is the story that if you've ever been under Bad Boy at some point, you never got out, you're gonna die poor. And I believe Nicki Minaj was once signed with him, and she got out of Dodge quickly, with the quickness. So that's the story about the lawsuit. And even some of his baby's mothers, I believe his son, what's the name, the light skinned one, it's not with a J, is it Justin? I don't remember the name, but yeah, even his baby's mother, Misha, I believe her name is, was speaking out against him recently because I guess the boy was arrested or something for DUI, but the word on the street is that the DUI was actually Diddy's, and he took the rap for that, and the mother was upset. So she was very vocal on social media, even though she's not usually like that. Okay, so moving on. Now, what we'll find out is, as everybody knows, the lawsuit has been settled, right? And I think a lot, I'm going to speak for myself first. For me, I was extremely disappointed. Like most people, I was very, very, very disappointed, because I think one of the things is, this was an opportunity to hold a man that a lot of people have accused of a lot of things over the years, disgusting things, vile things. It was an opportunity to hold such a man accountable, right? But now Cassie was going to be the one to do it. At least she was going to open the floodgates and hold it open for everybody to come out and say what they say. And people were hoping that whatever happened during the civil suit, it was a civil suit. During the civil suit was going to open the door for a criminal lawsuit, for him to go to prison, which is what a lot of people want. So when in a criminal suit, the only remedy is money. So let's talk about that a little bit. A lot of people have said that Cassie only filed a civil suit. Honestly, I don't think Cassie wanted to file the lawsuit because Cassie seems to be a quiet person, very unproblematic. She doesn't bother nobody. She's been quiet all these years. And I don't think she really ever wanted to go public. If she wanted to go public, she would have gone public already. But I think from the moment that she was leaving that particular relationship, she always knew that she wanted to hold them accountable. And now she's married with two kids and, has someone who cares for her, and she's having these conversations with her husband because her husband has been very vocal against Didi, and we are assuming it's because of the things that she's telling him behind closed doors of what happened to her. And I'm sure that kind of trauma is not something you ever get away with. I mean, get away from. It's something that's going to impact you for the rest of your life. So that kind of trauma, right? I feel like because Cassie um is now talking to her husband. Maybe she's going to therapy. She's evaluating her feelings, understanding what happened to her and how inappropriate it was and how terrible it really was. And to have to live with that, that has a big impact on her. Now, her husband, is helping her through it. Not only that, is saying you need to hold him accountable. So I think she always wanted to hold him accountable, but I don't think without the support that she would have ever gone forward. I think at one point when he would beat her, her mom would try to find out. He really isolated her from her family, as abusers tend to do, right? So you don't have the support you need to get away. She would lie to her parents about, if her parents saw something in the media about her being beaten or abused, she would deny it, or he would make her put on makeup so that her sons wouldn't see it. When he would beat her so bad, people would see it and cry, the people within his immediate circle, but he would send her somewhere to until her bruises healed, stay at a hotel until they heal, or so her sons would come over. She would have to put on makeup and cover it. It's pretty shocking what happened to her. So now to go back through this, going through therapy, and finally being able to kick a drug abuse addiction that was forced upon you, because she's saying she was abused and she was forced to do all these, substances that really left her an addict. And she was able to kind of kick the habit because she got pregnant. Because when you're pregnant, you can't really do things like that. She had two kids. So because of that, now she's saying, oh, this shouldn't have never happened to me. And now I want to hold them accountable. But because she's so unproblematic, I don't think she really wanted to file a lawsuit. She probably told them, look, I'm giving you a courtesy. This is what I'm planning on doing. I'm planning on telling my story. This is all alleged. This is what I'm thinking to happen. Listen, this is what happened to me. I'm going to tell my story. He's like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. I'll pay you this amount. I'll pay you that amount. She's like, no, that's not enough. Okay, fine. You want to pay me? Pay me 30 mil. He's like, okay, I'm not paying you no 30 mil. Okay. And so he called her bluff. And what Rihanna said, please don't call me on my bluff. He called her bluff. So once he called her bluff, she's like, okay, bet. Only got a couple of weeks until, also, I think the statute of limitation was about to expire on her case. So she had to say something. Now, like I said, I'm one of those people that was very disappointed that the lawsuit has been settled, because once this blew up on social media, it really blew up. People are saying surviving P. Diddy, P. Diddy, Young Miami, you in danger, girl. You in danger, girl. Because we're like, Carisha, you in danger, girl. But let me tell you something. To me, in my mind, in my thought process, I believe Carisha already knows about this. This is not shocking to Carisha at all. I believe that Carisha knows, because somebody like that, Carisha's been around him for at least a year. Okay, I don't remember how long, but it's been at least a year, right? And publicly, when Carisha tries to pipe up, hype up, and be like, I'm the one in charge, he shut that down. He shut that down. And so Carisha, I think, has seen that side of him, because I believe Carisha was also going back and forth with one of the women, Gina, that he associates with, right? And Gina was like, and Carisha was like, oh, if I wanted you to do X, Y, Z, Diddy would have had you on your knees. alleging to some sexual things, which is saying that basically Diddy will force you to do something that you don't want to do, right? So we're over here saying, Carisha, you're in danger. I think Carisha has seen this side of him. I think Carisha, I love Carisha. I love her personality. Carisha is funny. She is funny. I love Carisha, okay? Her and Santana, they are a key together. So I think Carisha, right, has already unfortunately gotten used to seeing this type of situations as normal. I don't want to speak for how she grows up, but based on the way she talks about growing up and things that happen, you can tell that this type of love or relationship is not shocking to her. And so, even if she had seen it, now she's seen it with somebody with $1 billion. And people's mind like that, I've dealt with it with somebody who had no money. Why would I deal with somebody who has $1 billion, right? So, even though we want to think that Carisha's in danger, I think she's already seen it. And I don't know if physically, maybe he is. I don't know, because a man like that doesn't change. He has to show his power, his control, and do shit. Even if it's not beat you to the point where you bleeding profusely, like Cassie said she was. A man like that doesn't change because, as I mentioned, the girl that Carisha was going back and forth with, Gina, right? Carisha, Gina had done an interview with Tasha K where she was alleging a lot of the same things that Cassie was saying. And she was saying, I think Tasha K asked her, did Cassie know about you? She's like, yeah. And she knew about her, I think, a few months into the relationship with Diddy. Cassie knew about her, but Cassie was never mean to her or anything like that. I think Cassie herself couldn't have said anything. She didn't really have a choice to be like, oh, you can't date this person. We're together. I don't think she had that kind of power based on what it's sounding like, right? But the sad part about Gina's situation is also she was saying how she was also abused. And I believe she said she got pregnant twice in the relationship and he stomped on her, like kicking. Can you imagine a full grown man kicking a woman while she's on the ground? Those were her allegations. And I believe she said that Cassie reached out to her after. I still wonder. My question is, how did you get away? I Over a year ago, I think about a year and a half ago, I made a TikTok video. Sandra said, "What shameless plug? Follow me on TikTok." So over a year ago, I believe that what's her name? What's her name? What's her name? What's her name? Yeah, me. I'm the name. I made a video saying I can't wait to read Cassie's tell-all book about Diddy because I know, even though we were thinking that Cassie was there, she chose to be there. I knew something had to be wrong. I think we all thought something was wrong, but we just couldn't put our fingers on it or that it was that bad. So that young lady said that Cassie did reach out to her after she escaped Diddy, and people are talking about surviving Diddy. And a lot of people, like I said, are disappointed, but a lot of people are also victim blaming, like, why are you not filing a lawsuit? Why are you now doing this and that and third? And that brings me to the point. Paula J. White, please come to the front. Paula J. White, please come to the front. Ma'am, let me show you. I don't know if you guys know Paula J. White. She plays Penny Proud's mother, right? Oh, she plays Penny Proud's mother on what do you call it? Not Sister, on the Proud Family. She also plays Craig's girlfriend in the movie Friday. And all I have to say is that's why your teeth look like that. And that's why Craig broke up with your ass. This is Paula J. White. This here. That's why your teeth look like that, ma'am. That's why your teeth look like the way it look, okay? Because that's why Craig broke up with your ass. That's why Craig broke up with your ass. This woman right here was talking about, oh, well, she's just pretending to be a damsel in distress. A lot of people are saying, why did she file a civil lawsuit instead of a criminal lawsuit? She was just looking for money. She was looking for a payday, blah, 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 blah. all I have to say is people can be very insensitive, and you have everyone has to keep in mind that on social media, when you're dealing with people on social media, you're dealing with people from all walks of life. There are some people this is normal where they come from, right? There are some people they don't think this is a big deal. There are some people who don't have the education or mental bandwidth to understand, to comprehend why this was wrong. And this chick right here, Paula J. White is one of them. She was talking about, I didn't really try to get too much into her antics, but I just know she was basically like a lot of other people, despite I think we somehow expect people who are famous, have been around, and have money to have a higher moral ground, but it's quite the opposite a lot of times, right? People in Hollywood, they've seen it all, they know it all, so nothing, not much really phases them. So what she was saying was that, oh, why did Cassie not say no? She was very much capable of saying no. Ma'am, did you not see the lawsuit? She said no many times. From the first time he beat her, I think she said they were at a party and she was talking back to him or something. He came out and beat her, took her away from the party and beat her. That's when she was really in shock. He beat her so bad that she threw up. That's when she realized, oh snap, this man is crazy. And when she tried to get away, and he had right after, he love bombs her. Excuse me. So right after, right? Yeah, I cannot talk for very long. I'm very soft spoken and my voice does not last long. So right after that, he loves bombs her, which is buying her a lot of gifts, basically sending his people to buy her a lot of gifts, which is what abusers do, right? They have the honeymoon phase. And then after the honeymoon phase, they start building back to themselves. They abuse you again and love bomb you and whatever. Same thing. The cycle just keeps repeating. In this case, she tried to get away many times, and which is her saying no. When she said no, he would physically abuse her. She ran away to Kid Cudi. He blew up his car. She tried to tell her mom. She went one time. I think one time she got away. Um, she was with her mom. They took pictures of her bruises. He would make her lie. I think now there's a video of her on an ATV. Well, she claims she had an ATV accident while having fun, but people are saying that he was the one that beat her. So it was really terrible what was happening to Cassie behind closed doors, and a lot of us, I think, we're still shocked by what happened. We're not surprised, but it's still shocking to learn of the details of the freak offs or FOs, as he calls it, and all the things that he did to this woman. So after that, anytime, I think it's sad that anytime anybody comes out to try to speak on their experiences, people always have a counter. Right now, we're not saying that everyone should always readily believe anyone that says anything, because I don't think that that person that comes out first is always right. But we have to be a bit more sensitive. But I think people are just jerks. They're just jerks. I was gonna say a different word, but people are just a-holes, right? And I'm not going to say as a woman, there are plenty of women who are male identified. So I'm not shocked that as a woman that she's defending an abuser, a woman beater, allegedly, RAPEISC. But I think it's disgusting that you can come out and say, oh, please, she knew what was happening. She wanted it, or she wanted the money. She was there for the money. Even if someone willingly consents to a relationship with someone, that does not give said person the right to beat them or APE them. That's why even if you're married to someone, you can still go to prison for RAPE. Why? Because of the fact that there's so much, because of the fact that there's so much you cannot do to a person just because a person has consented to a relationship with you, which just doesn't sound like she did. He basically forced her into a relationship and had people basically barricade her from getting away. Even if she said, I'm going to be with you, when she decided to walk away, that should have been it. She doesn't want to be with you. She doesn't want to be with you. That's it. But If she says she doesn't want to be with you, you beat her and force her to stay there. That is kidnapping. And then you traffic her from state to state and country to country to force her. I'm sure these FOs weren't just happening in the US, right? You're forcing this person to engage in relations. And then she said during those times, if she would, not be able to handle it, he would shame her. So I'm not surprised that as a woman that she's saying this. There are plenty of women who defend abusers online, in person. There are women who believe, abuse is a sign of love, abuse is a sign of caring. But yeah, so pretty much they have, let me get back to where they have settled the lawsuit, right? Let me read you the New York Times article. Diddy and Cassie. So basically, they settled. Let me just stop sharing the screen and get onto this screen for you. I want you to see it as I read it. So it says Cassie settles lawsuit accusing Diddy of RAPE and abuse. So let me tell you, I had been paying attention to this case, but I'd been so busy that I was literally working on videos all day doing my things around the house. And someone told me, "Oh my gosh, you saw how quickly they settled that." And I was like, "What you mean? No, I'm thinking it's a joke." Turns out it was not a joke. They have indeed settled the lawsuit. Okay, it says the R&B singer Cassandra Ventura and the music mogul did not disclose the term of the settlement, which came one day after she filed the explosive complaint. One day. Okay. According to what is being said, he had not even been properly served yet. Okay. So I don't know if they even printed the paperwork to bring to him yet. And the way this thing was exploding on social media, people saying, I knew it. He's always been this and that and the third. People were not shocked at all. And when he called her bluff, he fucked around and found out. She was like, okay, bet you're gonna find out. So he called her bluff. And so they reached the settlement a day after that. You know, different instances of physical abuse and actual abuse as well. They announced on Friday that they agreed to, you know, Cassie said she wanted to resolve the matter on some level on let me just read on terms that she has some level of control, right? And I can understand that. Allegedly, according to her, he would film her during these encounters, right? And what he would do is, even when she deleted them, you can, even if you delete something of a phone or a computer, you can, there are ways to still retract that information or whatever you deleted, right? So he would try to show her how much control he had of her, because she said one time she deleted a certain video of her engaging in this type of instance, and she was on the plane and he came and showed it to her like, hey, look, you thought you did, this is how much power and control I have, and all my people here are going to protect me. All my people here are not going to protect you. You are basically powerless. Giving that he was also the person she signed to. At first, she really couldn't say no, and then it just became what it was. She's enslaved to this man. So they agreed. I'm sure they did not just agree amicably, excuse me, to settle this, right? They also, I'm sure, agreed for that check to be cut. And I don't know, from the moment I found out that she was filing, even though she filed the civil lawsuit for 30 mil, I think also she would have gotten a lot more. 30 mil, it was just the starting point, right? And then they were going to go into punitive damages. If you guys know, so when people file lawsuits, sometimes they have to put down a certain amount, but that doesn't hold them to that particular amount. It could go significantly higher, because if you see in the Tasha K what's her name, Cardi B instance, that's the same thing that happened, right? Tasha K and Cardi B, they started like maybe 10,000 and then it went to 4 million. After she was granted the 30 mil, they were going to give her punitive damages, right? You have to punish him for what he did. And I think even if Diddy had to give me, I was thinking if I were Cassie, I wouldn't settle for less than 300 mil. That's just me. Even if Diddy had to give her every single dollar he had to the last penny, right? To the last penny, he would do it. Why? Because at this point, he still has his name. If he went through with this lawsuit, one second, if he went through with this lawsuit, not only would he lose money, he would lose his reputation. He was starting to lose brand deals. I think that I think at this point there was supposed to be some kind of Ciroc party. Was it Ciroc or De Leon? One of his liquor brands were supposed to have some kind of event. It's already being canceled, and we don't know what other people were contacting him behind closed doors saying, "Hey, yeah, we can't get with that." Even though we know what you do behind closed doors, a lot of these companies they will know what you're doing behind closed doors, but they'll still try to save face, right? So he was starting to lose brand deals. He was starting to this and that. So then he was like, you know what? It's better to settle now. But he should have settled before, right? But he didn't think she would be able to do it. But I think, yeah, knew that I better settle now before it gets much worse. I think he knows the skeletons that are in his closet, the people that would need to be subpoenaed, and people would have to testify under the law because if you lie in court, that is perjury and you will go to jail, you will go to prison, that is a crime. So he knew more, and I think more importantly, he didn't want the rest of what could get out to get out. And I think Cassie also, like I said, didn't want to go through with it because she doesn't want all of these things to come out. She doesn't want people to see her. She doesn't want people to see those videos of her. And I'm sure it's a traumatic experience to relive through. You don't want to relive to that moment. But where I think Cassie really um people are really upset with her is because, girl, you had all these people invested, right? You were evoking the emotions of the public, saying, you know, I'm doing this for every woman who's been abused, every woman who's been this and that and the third. Now you got people ready gunning for you, and we know what else he did. Kim is no longer here because of him. So and so is no longer here because of him. He beat people. You remember how he treated those people from making the band. Blah, blah, blah. People were ready. They were ready to go, right? So you got everybody's emotions on high, running on 10. And then you say, okay, yeah, I'll take the money. So a lot of people will be like, oh, yeah, so you see what I told you? It was always about the money. It was a shakedown. I think two things can be true at the same time. While she wanted him to be financially punished, I think she might have wanted that, but she's just not that type of person. You got to pick your fighter in this. This is one of those situations where you got to choose your fighter. And she was not that fighter, right? I think, like I said, also, someone saying, okay, fine, I'll pay you 300 million to go away, shut up. That is not an admission of guilt. A lot of people are saying, oh, just because he paid, you know, he did it. He did it. If he didn't do it, I think a lot of people, they have to estimate the benefits and costs of going to court versus not going to court. Maybe it'll be cheaper. At this point, like I said, he still has his name, he still has some brand is. It's going to be, he could have, but we don't know. We don't know. I'm sure there's a clause in there saying you can never talk about this again. There's an NDA somewhere in there, right? A lot of people, you know, are saying he settling a lawsuit is not an admission of guilt at all. But do I believe he did it? Yes. Do most people, a lot of people believe he did it? Yes. I don't think he paid off as an admission of guilt, but he know he did it, so he paid off. I don't know if that makes sense. It's not technically not an admission of guilt, but I know I did it. So I'm gonna, you know, end it here before it gets worse. Okay. So that's why he paid her off. And the sad part is about it is she did say that she was doing it for other women who've been abused, but when you, like I said, invoke the public's feelings and emotions about what happened, and then it happens like this, people are going to be upset, people are going to be sad. Um, so yeah, I at this point don't really know what to think. I don't think it was just about the money, but I don't think this is the end of this though. I don't think this is the end of it. I think a lot of people will now have the courage to come forward. I think the statute of limitation of what he's done to a lot of people has expired because, like I said, like a lot of people are saying, he started in 1993. We're in 2023, right? That's what, 30 years? So, oh, the other thing that kind of saddens me is because she says, as a result of the excessive substance use that he forced her to partake in, she's losing her memory. I think that's the saddest part for me. The saddest part is because you didn't tell your story. I don't know if you can tell your story because there's really no NDA on crimes, right? You cannot put on NDA on crimes. He may have that in there if she wants to. She can still speak out or file charges because I think he or APE'd her as recently as 2018, right? So, but I don't think she will because she just doesn't seem like that type to do it, right? But I think the saddest part is if something happens to her or her memory gets worse, she would have forgotten a lot of things. And it's like basically it never happened. That story was never told. You've taken away your voice forever. And I don't know, was it worth it? Was it worth it? That's what's really, really, really sad to me because if you're losing your memory, you chose not to tell your story. Now you have to literally forever hold your peace because you can't even remember what happened. Anyway, as titled by this video, "When Money Buys Justice," I think it's disgusting that some people are able to buy pretty much pay off people by justice. Justice should not be able to be bought, but the reality of the world is it is. Justice is bought every day. So even though he was, I don't even think whatever she got financially is not enough. And I'm really like just thinking, I'm in my head a little bit about it. Whatever he paid her is not enough. And not only that, the money is not enough. I think it's more about her story not having been told. Will her story ever be told? Right? We don't know. And we don't know what's going to happen. And I think that's the scariest part, that a man like that does not change. He's going to continue his behavior, his pattern of behavior of abuse of him, of other people, and getting away with it. And I think a lot of the time people think, what's the point of having money if I'm not able to get away with what regular folks can get away with? Rich people do this all the time because they can afford it. What's the point, of having money if I can't abuse people and get away with it? What's the point of having money if I can't have what somebody else can have? And usually it's not the physical things they want. It's the emotional things that they want. They want to control someone. They want to RABE someone. Many people. And abusive men like Diddy don't stop. He's always abused people. I know Carisha's over there getting abused. Carisha, girl. I know Carisha's a little slow. I love Carisha, but she is a little slow. So I think a lot of people are very disheartened, as am I, because we really wanted his feet held to the fire. But like I said, I don't think it's over. I hope it's not over. I hope more people can come out and speak up and more lawsuits come forward until it gets to the criminals. You can take away all his money, but it really needs to get to the criminal court to where this man goes to prison. He needs to be in there with all the prison greats, okay? Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for joining this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000. What else? Check out my other videos. I've been posting consistently. I'm trying to get to 1,000 so I can have like more things. I'm able to do more things for you guys, and I can come here more often. And yeah, subscribe to the video. I will talk to you guys later. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. All my links are in my bio somewhere in here. I don't know how the YouTube bio works, but yeah. I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.